Greetings and salutations, cigar and whiskey enthusiasts. It is 11:54 p.m. on what is this? December 30th, 2025. End of the year, coming up on New Year's Eve. I thought we would talk about cheap-ass whiskey and cheap-ass cigars, because nobody talks about those. Cigars are really expensive, and bourbons are just getting outrageous. But anyway, there's some just cheap-ass stuff out there that's, it's actually good. I enjoy it. Anyway, what do we got here? Here, I'll show you this glass. These became popular, I don't know, a few years ago. And you'll note it's got a little cigar rest on it. I've been given several of these as gifts, and I always appreciate them, though for my personal habits, they're really of not much use. I rarely put my cigar down, and I rarely walk away from a drink. But they seem like they'd be a good thing, if you were serving guests, a drink and a cigar. You can just, if you had a tray full of them, you could just hand them out. And if you do, for some unfortunate reason, have to walk away from your drink and you can't take your cigar with you, it's a place to leave your cigar, which is always good. I can see that. And I'm sure that's happened to me. Anyway, cheap-ass cigar. I don't even know the name of it. Conuco. I don't know if you can see that. I apologize every time for my lighting, but then I don't do anything about it, do I? I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, it's just a basic. It's a Churchill size. It's got a fairly dark wrapper. That's what I like. And it's cheap. I think these are, $2 a piece. So you can smoke them several times a day and not feel like you're, being decadent. Here, I'll set it in my little glass. And then cheap-ass whiskeys. This is actually one of my favorites. I'll hold that up. Old Crow. I even have a little Old Crow, I don't know which way he's going, Old Crow bottle topper. He sits on top of a bottle if you have a fifth, and I can only find quarts or liters for the metric among us. And it's just a little too big for my little Crow. Anyway, he officiates from his perch, and just Old Crow is just good basic drinking whiskey. Again, you can have several a day and not feel like you're being decadent, which is good. Austerity and whatnot is good. The smell is just, that's America. That's bourbon. That's the stuff. And then another one I've got over here is Evan Williams. That's a good basic and cheap. These are both under $20 for a quart or for a liter. I think that's a liter. I can't see it. Yeah, it's definitely bigger than a fifth, so it's a liter. Anyway, yeah, austerity and not being decadent. See if my lighter works. Oh yeah, all right. I've had this lighter for 10 years, and it just keeps on working. Although I had, there was a time where I hardly used it because I had other lighters, but I've gone back to it. Anyway, that ain't bad. This is not. There's a few cheap ass cigars I buy just to have for daily consumption. And I can't remember the names. East Coast Rollers, cheap and good. Anyway, here's to the upcoming new year. May it be better than the last. And I'll probably... actually, I might do a live one tomorrow. Anyway, we'll see. New Year's Eve live. New Year's Smokin' Eve. Anyway, cheers. This glass is a little too square. You'll notice it's square because it forces you to sip, which, I don't need my glass dictating my habits on, I am used to a round glass. Anyway, cheap whiskey, there are so many whiskey snobs out there now. The hipsters have gotten a hold of it, and now you've got all these boutique-y little, bullshit whiskeys that are, $80 to $200 a bottle. And, I'll take 5 bottles of Old Crow over one of those any day. Not that I'm an alcoholic. I don't even drink that much anymore. I try and save it for you guys because I'm that, I'm generous that way. Anyway, that should do it. Cheers. What's my light doing? It's acting weird. It's the camera. Oh, cheers. It's better if you drink out of the corner. All right. Science. Talk to y'all later.